The day of Grandma's funeral felt surreal. Everyone wore black, faces heavy with grief, but I couldn't shake off a strange sense of anticipation. As I stood by her casket, memories flooded my mind, her laughter, her stories, and most importantly, her warnings. "Don't open the blue box, dear," she always said, a firm look in her eyes. I had never understood why, but now, with her gone, the curiosity gnawed at me. Maybe it was time to find out. After the service, the family gathered at my parents' house. The atmosphere was thick with sorrow, but I felt a spark of rebellion flickering within me. As relatives shared stories about Grandma, I slipped into her old attic. Dust swirled in the faint light as I rummaged through old boxes. That's when I spotted it, the blue box. Its color was faded, but the lock gleamed as if it had secrets to share. I hesitated, remembering Grandma's words, but my curiosity outweighed my fear. I reached for it, feeling both excitement and dread as I picked it up. With trembling hands, I tried to pry the box open. It wouldn't budge. Frustrated, I searched for something to force it. I found an old screwdriver and carefully jimmied the lock until it clicked. My heart raced as I lifted the lid. Inside were old IDs, faded photographs, and a DNA testing kit. My heart sank as I pulled out the IDs. They belonged to people I didn't recognize. Confusion swirled within me as I examined each item. The identities were strangers, yet they felt strangely familiar. Before I dive deeper, if you're enjoying this story so far, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps me keep creating more content like this. Now back to the story. I picked up the DNA kit. What's this doing here? I wondered aloud. Grandma had never mentioned any of these things. I felt an urge to dig deeper. Perhaps this was a clue to something bigger, a secret that had been buried for years. I took a deep breath, deciding to take the kit home. Maybe I could unlock the mysteries of my family's past. I couldn't shake the feeling that these items were connected to Grandma's warning. Maybe she knew something I didn't. The following day, I carefully followed the instructions on the DNA kit. The process was simple enough, but I felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. What would the results reveal? I sealed the sample in the envelope and mailed it off, hoping for answers but bracing myself for surprises. As the days passed, I found myself thinking about the IDs. Who were these people? Why did Grandma keep them hidden? I began to piece together a story in my mind, fueled by my imagination and the tantalizing hints from the blue box. Finally, the email arrived. The subject line read, "Your DNA test results are ready." My heart raced as I opened it. The first few paragraphs explained my ancestry, but what caught my attention was the last segment. It mentioned a connection to a wealthy family that had lost a child decades ago. I felt a chill run down my spine. Could it be that I was connected to them? The name of the family resonated in my mind, the Langleys. They were infamous for their tragic loss, and suddenly I felt a sense of urgency to learn more. If you're finding this story captivating, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more intriguing tales. Now let's continue. I researched the Langleys, uncovering their tragic history. They had a child, a boy named Oliver, who had gone missing when he was just 5 years old. The case had made headlines, and despite extensive searches, he was never found. My heart raced as I connected the dots. Could it be that my family was somehow involved? I felt a sense of dread wash over me as I recalled Grandma's warnings. Had she known about this connection all along? The weight of the secrets began to press down on me, and I knew I had to confront my family. At dinner that evening, I gathered my courage. "Mom, Dad, I found something in Grandma's attic," I started, my voice trembling. They looked at me with curiosity and concern. I explained about the blue box, the IDs, and the DNA test results. Their faces paled as I mentioned the Langleys. "What do you know about them?" I asked directly. My parents exchanged worried glances, and I could see their unease. "Honey, those are just stories," my mom said, trying to dismiss my concerns, but I wasn't convinced. Stories? Grandma kept those IDs for a reason. She was hiding something. My voice rose, filled with urgency. "I need to know the truth." My dad sighed deeply, finally breaking his silence. "There are things about our family you don't understand," he said. "Things we've kept buried for a long time." I felt a mix of frustration and fear. "What do you mean?" I pressed, desperate for answers. After a long pause, my dad began to share a story I had never heard before. He spoke of my grandparents, how they had struggled financially before I was born. They had been desperate for a better life, and that desperation led them to make choices that would haunt them forever. "They took a child," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "They took Oliver Langley and raised him as their own." My heart raced as the revelation sank in. The truth was more shocking than I could have ever imagined. If you're still with me, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more gripping stories. Now, let's uncover the rest of this shocking tale. Why? I stammered, struggling to comprehend what I was hearing. Why would they do that? My dad explained that my grandparents believed they could provide a better life for Oliver than the Langleys could. They had planned to claim the trust fund that came with him, thinking it would solve all their problems. I felt sick to my stomach. My grandparents had kidnapped a child, and I was a part of this twisted legacy. The weight of the truth crashed down on me. I felt anger, confusion, and disbelief. How could they? I asked, tears welling in my eyes. It felt like a betrayal of everything I had known. My mom reached out to comfort me, but I pulled away. This changes everything, I said, my voice shaky. I need to find out what happened to Oliver. He deserves to know the truth. My parents exchanged worried glances, but I was resolute. I had to make things right. The next morning, I began my search for Oliver Langley. I scoured online articles, forums, and social media. The more I uncovered, the more I realized how deeply the Langleys had been affected by their loss. I found photographs of them, their faces etched with grief. It became clear to me that they had never given up hope. I reached out to local news outlets, hoping someone could help me dig deeper into the story. I wanted to understand the full impact of my grandparents' actions. As I delved deeper, I stumbled across a forum dedicated to missing children. There, I found a post about Oliver. The author described how the Langleys had been heartbroken, their lives shattered by the loss of their son. The post also mentioned a charity established in his name, dedicated to helping families of missing children. I felt a surge of hope. Maybe reaching out to them could be a way to honor Oliver's memory and the pain my family had caused. If you're enjoying this unfolding story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Now let's see what happens next. I contacted the charity, sharing my story and my connection to the Langleys. They responded with kindness and understanding, offering to help me reach out to the family. It was a small step, but I felt like I was finally doing something meaningful. I wanted to help the Langleys find closure, to show them that not all hope was lost. As I waited for their response, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread that lingered. What if they didn't want to hear from me? What if my family's dark past was too heavy a burden for them to bear? Days turned into weeks, and I continued my research. I learned everything I could about the Langleys, their lives before and after Oliver's disappearance. I discovered that they had faced immense challenges, but they had also found strength in their community. They had hosted vigils, written letters, and even started a foundation to help other families in similar situations. The more I learned, the more I admired their resilience. Finally, I received an email from the charity. They had spoken with the Langleys and shared my story with them. They wanted to meet. My heart raced as I read the message. This was my chance to confront the truth and perhaps bring some healing to both families. I arranged to meet them at a park where they had held vigils for Oliver. I felt a mix of excitement and fear as the day approached. Would they be angry? Would they understand? When I arrived at the park, the atmosphere felt heavy with emotion. I spotted the Langleys, a couple in their 50s, their faces lined with years of grief. They looked out of place, yet their presence was powerful. I approached them, my heart pounding. "Hello, I'm Alex," I stammered, extending my hand. They looked at me, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "Thank you for reaching out, Alex," Mrs. Langley said softly, shaking my hand. "We've been waiting to hear from you." Her voice trembled with emotion, and I felt tears welling in my eyes. "I'm so sorry for what my family did," I said, my voice breaking. "You deserve to know the truth about Oliver." Their eyes widened, and I could see the pain behind their expressions. I began to share my family's story, detailing how my grandparents had taken Oliver and raised him as their own. I felt a sense of urgency to explain, to apologize for the actions that had caused them so much suffering. If this story resonates with you, please like and subscribe for more. Let's continue this journey together. As I spoke, I saw the emotions wash over their faces: shock, disbelief, and finally, understanding. "We always hoped he was out there, safe," Mr. Langley said, his voice thick with emotion. "But to hear this, it's overwhelming." I nodded, feeling the weight of my family's history pressing on me. "I want to help," I said firmly. "I want to make things right." They exchanged glances, and I could see the flicker of hope in their eyes. Maybe this was the beginning of healing. Over the next few weeks, we worked together to honor Oliver's memory. We organized a community event to raise awareness about missing children and the importance of supporting families in crisis. The Langleys shared their story, and I stood beside them, my heart heavy with the knowledge of my family's past. But in that shared pain, I felt a sense of purpose. I was no longer just a bystander, I was part of something bigger. The event was a success, drawing people from all over to support the cause. As I looked out at the crowd, I saw the Langleys smiling, their faces lit with hope. They had found strength in their community, and in turn I found strength in them. Together we were healing old wounds and creating a new legacy, one built on compassion and understanding. If you appreciate this story and want to hear more, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Your support means everything. As the sun set that evening, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I had faced the truth about my family, and while it was painful, it had also been a catalyst for change. The Langleys had given me a chance to make amends, and I was grateful. I knew that while the past could never be erased, we could build a brighter future together. In the weeks that followed, I continued to work with the Langleys and the charity. I learned more about missing children and the support systems available for families in crisis. My connection to the Langleys grew deeper, and I felt proud to stand beside them as we advocated for change. The pain of our shared history was still present, but it was no longer a burden. Instead, it became a source of strength, driving us to work harder for the cause. Eventually, we decided to create a scholarship in Oliver's name, a way to honor his memory and help other families in need. It felt like a fitting tribute, a way to turn our pain into something positive. As we planned the details, I felt a sense of purpose guiding me. This was my chance to contribute to something meaningful, to help others who had faced similar struggles. This story is just getting to the good part, so if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We're building something impactful here, and I want you along for the ride. The scholarship launch was a beautiful event, filled with stories of hope and resilience. As I stood on stage sharing Oliver's story, I felt the weight of my family's past lift from my shoulders. I was no longer just the girl who had opened the blue box. I was part of a new legacy, one built on compassion, understanding, and a commitment to making the world a better place. As the crowd applauded, I glanced at the Langleys, their faces beaming with pride. In that moment, I felt a profound connection to them, a bond forged through shared pain and healing. Together, we were rewriting our stories, transforming tragedy into hope. And as I stood there, surrounded by love and support, I knew that I had finally found my place in the world. The journey had been long and filled with challenges, but it had also been transformative. I had learned the importance of facing the truth, of acknowledging the past while looking toward the future. The blue box had held secrets that changed everything, but it also opened doors I never knew existed. As I walked off the stage, my heart swelled with hope. I was ready to embrace the future, to continue my work with the Langleys, and to ensure that Oliver's story would never be forgotten. In the end, the blue box had revealed more than just hidden identities. It had shown me the power of love, forgiveness, and the strength of the human spirit. And for that, I would be forever grateful. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing tales. Until next time.